In order to forge a lasting bond with the Meereenese people, I will reopen the fighting pits.
Meereen was the slaver city that specialized in producing these fighting slaves. Yunkai and Ostaport had fighting pits too, not like in Meereen. Meereen was where the big ones were. They were all over the city, small ones for neighborhood bouts. And the gigantic Dasmat pit, where hundreds of thousands can gather to watch men fight each other. Dany closes all of these when she takes the city, but that just makes her more unpopular. Not only has she conquered the city and put a lot of their leaders to death, but she's outlawed their favorite sport.
That is greatness?
That is a vital part of the great city of Meereen, which existed long before you or I, and will remain standing long after we have returned to the dirt.
Now, one of the things that Dany is wrestling with is, how do I make the people accept my rule?
I did not take up residence in this pyramid so I could watch the city below decline into chaos.
She thinks it's barbaric and ugly and repulsive, but does she have the right to outlaw it?
Those men think they're dying for a good reason.
Someone else's reason.
So your reasons are true and theirs are false. They don't know their own minds, but you do.
People love blood when it's not their own. But tavern brawls are boring, and wars never have good seating. Thus, the famed fighting pits of Meereen opened shortly after the city's own founding. And I heard that originally the combats were a blood sacrifice to the gods of Geese, the empire that founded Meereen. Some still believe they are, but the Ghiskari Empire died a long time ago and their gods went with them. Yet the pits remained open, filling the city's purse with gold from the ends of the earth. I suppose the fighting pits are a blood sacrifice after all. Only the gods changed. In the pits, slaves fought each other to the death for fame and glory, and gold for their masters. A lot of gold. Enough for the masters to invest in rigorous training. Slaves were taught to fight like Dothraki screamers, bearded priests of Norvos, iron-born reavers, Westerosi knights, Cohoric hunters, and Lysene pirates. Whatever would excite a crowd. After all, everyone wants to know who is the best. And, of course, who isn't. For the crowds don't come only to see men fight well. I've seen the masters release tigers, lions, and other exotic beasts into the arena to chase less costly slaves, barely trained, if at all. A whore once told me of an amusement in one of the less prestigious pits. One boy was rolled in honey, one in blood, and one in rotting fish. And then a bear was unleashed, and the crowd wagered on which boy the bear would eat first. I never heard who won. Then again, it was obvious. The masters. Did such stories worry me? Of course not. I could fight, and for a good fighter, life was luxurious. Thousands of people chanted his name when he stepped into the pits. He would eat the choicest meats, drink the finest wines, and sleep on exotic furs. Often not alone. Women would fling themselves at him or sneak into his chambers to wait for him after a fight. Foreign princesses, priestesses, and even the wives and wayward daughters of masters. He never had to fear punishment. For a great fighter could be worth 300,000 honors. Another wife was always cheaper. And when this renowned fighter finally fell, for all fighters will in time, his name would be inscribed onto the gates of fate among the other valiant dead. I remember once trying to count the names. But the gates opened before I finished, and another fight began.